Okay, here we have a forces question, two identical blocks, mass 2 kilograms, and they're connected by a string, and they move on the same surface. What is the tension in the string? All right, hopefully you've paused and had a chance to look at the question. I'll be honest, when I first did this question, I completely overthought it, and I've simplified it for you here. So the first thing to recognize here is we want to know what the tension on the string is. Okay, now the best way I think of doing this is to recognize that the tension, which is we're putting here as T, is going to pull my block Y to the left. Okay, so we're going to have tension acting to the left. And we have to think then about other forces acting on this object. Blocks X and Y are identical. So if we look at block X, it has a frictional force, which is going to move to the right, of 4 newtons. That means there's also going to be a frictional force on Y, and actually that frictional force is going to be the same because these are identical blocks. They're on the same surface, same mass, etc. So if we're setting up equations, we can find the resultant force acting on Y. The tension goes to the left, and the friction is going to go to the right. Well, that's going to be equal to the mass of Y times its acceleration. Now, we can see here the acceleration is 0.5 meters per second squared, so we know that acceleration, we know the mass as well, and so actually what we can do is rearrange. We can say the tension is equal to the mass times the acceleration plus that friction. We know that we've got 2 times 0.5, 2 being the mass, 0.5 the acceleration, and then we've got 4, which is our friction, which adds together to make 5 newtons, which is why that's the answer. Now, as I said, the first time I did this, I massively overcomplicated it. And that's a classic thing. If you can do it another way, which involves finding what F is, etc., etc., etc. However, you do not have to do that. You can take it nice and simple and just look at the motion of Y on its own.